Rightio. G'day and welcome everyone to Tournament of the Stars Season 2, Division B. We have Castarian Guards versus Clan Crossfire. I'm your host, JZ from the 228, and I'm here to bring you a very exciting match. Division B has been well fought so far, and we're going to be going into the first drop very shortly. So, I'm very happy to be hosting in this time zone. It's been a while since we've had a Asia Pacific match, and Crossfire, of course, being in the Asia Pacific region, and Castarian Guards being a Russian-based team. So yeah, we're very excited to have this all happening, and I look forward to casting it tonight. All right, and we will be off in the first drop very shortly. Teams are ready. We're getting ready for drop number 1, which is a trial mech, the Kipfox D on Skirmish Test A Solaris map. And here we go. Rightio, so for those of you who haven't seen much comp before, this is a very interesting series where we have a 1v1 to start off with using a trial mech, 2v2s, and then a series of 5v5 matches. It is clan mechs only, and it is going to be quite interesting to see how these play out. Now, I'm going to be experimenting with the dash cam today, so we will have dash cam footage from the first person view live and ready to go. So we have Nikoro Doomguard and Gwentler as our two champions. This mech features a 4S from CXF Artemis, jump jets, and a limited amount of ammo, but plenty for what we're dealing with today. Go the other view. Right, Nikoro jumping on top of the buildings to get a quick view. Gwentler closing in around the left. Now, of course, the range is limited to 270 meters, so it's going to be pretty clear here that whoever closes in first gets the first shot. Just filling each other out, seeing who steps over that magic 270 line. They're sitting right at 280, being very, very cheeky at that. Just feeling out what could go wrong, see what could happen. Maybe go arms, because the weapons are all in the arms. But I think we're going to see some very cheeky hokey pokey. This is on a 5-minute delay, so if you say something in chat, it'll take a little while for me to catch up. Now there is a skirmish, so we might have to wait a little while here. They go jumping off the building to go wide. First shot's landed on the legs. Looks like percentages are pretty close though, not much to say in it. Nico being down slightly, left leg of his getting rather hurt early. I like Gwentler's position here. See, by using the green hill, he can shield his legs slightly. But now they're both, shielding legs well. Nico being down a little bit, right leg open. He gets legged. Can Gwentler get around to the left or shoot through to the other side? Both leg now. Anyone's game. Who can shoot the shielded leg? Nico going for the CT on Gwentler, and he gets it. Very well done, and good job, Nikoro. Alright, always publish stats, never forget to do that. And off we go. Damages here, 147 versus 89. Going for the legs and then getting CT hits, hit center of mass, get that damage out. Nakora there, making a good decision there. Hitting the shielded leg can be quite difficult. CT, nice, clean, and very well done. Now, there's not much to say about map strats here, so we'll just whack on the stats while we get ready for the next drop. The next match will be 1 medium, 1 light on Boreal Reach, and there will be, you have to swap pilots. You can't use the same pilots of the 1v1s as you do for the 2v2s. So Nakora and Gwentler will substitute out, and new pilots will replace them. During the comp season, there is ISC 6v6, Innisphere only. So Innisphere Coalition has been going for quite a few years. Then we usually have the MOR 8v8s or the Trials of Combat, which is mixed Innisphere and Clan. And now we're at the 5v5, the ToS Tournament of the Stars 5v5 clans. Stars, of course, being 5 clan mechs from the lore. Looks like the parts coming in, we will have Pete Zone and JB, I will call them, because good luck pronouncing those letters at once. And Rafnor coming in as well. Let's get ready to see this next match. So 30 tons for Team 2, 130 total for Team 1. The maximum tonnage you can take, 1 light, 1 medium, is is only 90 tons, so they probably would ton down a little bit here. And we'll go to Boreal Reach, get the map sorted correctly. I believe it's 12s. It's 10, sorry. I should get that right. Efficiencies are off. That is a good suggestion. So yes, ignore enhancements. No, I think we're all good. $80 tons. All right, what could this be? A few combinations we could see. We could see a 55 ton like a Black Lantern and a Mistlings combo. That's 80. Yeah, you could see a 35 and a 45. You want to do something sketchy, longer range play like a Cougar and Shadowcat or something, or there's a few different combinations here that'd be interesting. I do think that even though Boreal Reach is the longest range of the 2v2 maps, it is definitely with these light mechs, it's going to end up in a brawl. Okay, I don't think we're going to see many kills at high range. It's going to be getting close and finish them off with this small tonnage. Swap sides, yes. Okay, roger that. Swap sides. Okay. Okay. I'll see if they're ready. Team 1's locked. Team 2, Rafnor and Pete. Let's see. All set. Let's go. 85 versus 80 tons. Quite light. That's quite interesting. Let's get the dash cam ready. Going in for Boreal Reach. Now, Boreal Reach is, like I said, the longest range of all the 2v2 maps, but see what these guys bring. Okay, we've got SRM, ATM, and that'll be 20 Vehicle. And it's on the other one side, and on the other, on CXF, we got the DPS Saber plus a Dakar Hunchback. That is no surprise that Pete is playing that, of course. We're going to be in Pete cam on the dash cam. Jinto setting up with the Vapor Eagle. In the main cam, we're looking at Jinto's ATM Vapor Eagle, and in the dash cam, we have Pete's Dakar. Sorry, vice versa. Dakar Hunchback in the main cam, and Jinto's ATM boat in the camera in camera. Interesting build here, 3 5s and a 10. He's standing in the open loud and proud, getting good damage on the Vapor Eagle. Kid Fox's SRM's coming in close though. Is there going to be enough DPS once that Kid Fox closes in? Let's get our spec cam. Let's get into spec cam for a bit. Rafnor getting absolutely hammered here, and Rafnor is legged. We can confirm that. Pete down from the CT. Perfect shooting by JB. And Rafnor, what can he do? He's legged, right leg open, gets taken out. Interesting push there, very interesting build on the Vapor Eagle particularly. That's a build I haven't really seen much of. Rafnor's DPS Saber really couldn't get those angles needed to really shred like he probably wanted to. And Pete getting a little bit sidelined off from Rafnor there. Let's look at the damage real quick. And we see decent damage, honestly, for the small mechs they are. That's actually quite decent damage output. But just that better focus, good CT focus on the Hunchback. The Hunchback 2C is a somewhat fragile mech, let's be honest. So particularly if you are in a brawl with SRMs, Hunchback 2C like that, a bit risky. The Kit Fox and Vehicle, those tiny bit more tanky than the counterparts, Incubus and Hunchback. So yeah, good work to KSG. We are a drop each way now. Okay, onto the scores. It should be coming through. You can see there, JB and Jinto surviving 66 and 44% respectively. Rightio. Now the next one, and this will be the final of the Solaris matches, will be back on Test A. It will be 1 Assault and 1 Medium. One Assault and 1 Medium does create some interesting ideas. Do you go with a big, boat anchor assault like a Direwolf or something similar, and then have a kiting mech? Do you go big gun all the way like a Dakar Vapor Eagle or something alongside a Direwolf? Those sort of questions. Or do you go more agile, bring an Executioner, something that's a bit more, as Mask, has jump jets, has the maneuverability to use the big blocks. This map has quite large blocks and terrain to move around with. And yeah, 44 Test Day is it's actually one of the larger. In fact, being a 4v4 map, it is the largest test map. Test A and Test B being built for lance on lance, whereas the others are for 2-on-2s. So again, swapping pilots again. We have 145 tons so far locked in for KSG, and 150 for CXF. Now what that could be, 145. Okay, could be any combination really. You could go a 90 tonner and a 55 tonner. I would, given 150 tons, I would think that's like a 95, like an Executioner plus a Vehicle. Every team is locked in ready. We will get straight into it. Okay, Third drop of the evening. We're on test A for 1 medium and 1 assault. Alright, what builds do we have here? We'll just get dash cam up. Okay. And we'll get him. We'll go watch. Go. Alright. Mokor bringing 2 Peep Shadowcat, and his partner is bringing 4 ER Larges Dual Gauss. That's Trem. On the CXF side, Lol Barbecue bring a Peep Red Laser Executioner, and Louston bringing a Peep AC-10 vehicle. Very similar to the trial vehicle, that one. Alright. So long range fire we can expect from both. Oh, very spicy. Look at that. Mokor getting up in the Shadowcat, getting a beautiful bird's eye view of everything to happen. I would really like to see the dash cam. Check out Mokor cam. Okay. Trem is going to get set up his dial, get sight lines. What will he see? He'll see 2 buildings, and Barbecue is going to walk potentially into that sight line. Aston's got the mid-range build. Now he's got Peeps AC-10s. If you're running a Peep AC-10 build like this and you see that the others are running ER Large Gauss, ER Peeps, you have to be thinking, how am I going to close this in? Okay, yes, I got 1 Peep, but there's 2 AC-10s with the relatively slow velocity for the range that we're dealing with. We need to get that closer. Okay, what options do we have? Looks like by working together, you can shift around to the right, maybe, and there's ways to sight line off to die with, or is there ways to go on the left? Personally here, I'd probably go left, like Lauston's already doing. Try to get some push on that Shadowcat, close that range, maybe come up this part of the map. So go around left this building, before the dial can get to this angle and get closer. If we trade at range, the dial will have ER large hit scan on the Executioner. The Shadowcat's loving the range it's at, and CXF will get whittled down over time if it's not careful. If they're not careful. The other thing to consider is what have the mechs specialized in? Well, it looks like the dial being a slower stationary mech is built for static trade, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. Now, yes, the Executioner can pop tart, but ER larges can be quite good at scratching them down. Let's just check out some percentages here on the dial just to see if he's getting hit much, and he's not really. Comparatively, Lol Barbecue down at 80%, Trem at 88%, and dial has a bit more hit points anyway, so KSG, Kastarian Guards, looking very good here. Mokor getting close. Now, I'm not sure what I think about this. He's going to get hit by those AC-10s when he gets close. That's a bit risky. UAV, defensive UAV up for CXF. Brilliant play to do that. Defensive UAVs, brilliant idea around particularly square or boxy terrain like this. Those sharp corners, UAV above it lets you pre-fire well. And closing in like this, I get the aggression. I like the ideas. I'm just not sure it's the best because, you know, the Executioner's got the red lasers, the AC-10s and the Veagle. It may work in their favor now that they've kind of corralled CXF to be much closer to the edge of the map. Mokor's going to get an angle on the left side here. I do like this play. It definitely forces CXF onto the back foot and pulls some pressure off of Trem. Of course, he's going to be careful not to get snapped in the process. Let's check it. Lol Barbecue, he does look rather hurt. That's the right arm, that's a bunch of his red lasers, but his torso's decent shape. He's still got the peeps. If he loses the right arm, you know, given that he hasn't really fired the red lasers once yet, it's not too big an issue. Oh, Mokor just got nailed. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay, this is interesting. The pop tying, I think, has been going very well for CXF here. They've actually managed to do it quite well. I mean, even though they're on the back foot here, in terms of position, in terms of health, they're definitely doing really well. Trem's legs are hurt, his torsos aren't too bad. I think CXF are doing well here, honestly. I'm not sure about KSG's decision to push. I'm really not loving it right now. They're giving up a lot of range advantage that they had, and they're really playing to the strength of CXF. Look at that beautiful double pop tart on the dial. Oh, that's beautiful teamwork. Lauston and Lol Barbecue really in sync. Yeah, we're looking at 2 very different ideas with the drop decks. We have 2 mechs that are similar, the CXF side, and 2 very different mechs. And the CXF guys, this one, are working very well together. Let's check out Lol Barbecue's health. He's open CT, but it's only yellow. Not too bad. Lassen, he's fresh enough. It's fresh enough. For this stage in the game anyway, he's doing great. That Shadow Cat, because he's halved, his heat sinking is going to be horrific. So even if he does get close in on a shot, he's not going to get DPS. In this position, CXF could push the Dire. They could just charge the Dire down, and the Shadow Cat will overheat. And this is a clear opportunity here for CXF to finish this one out. Michael doing well to stay alive, but what's he going to do? He's cut off from his Direwolf. What? Like I get he's doing his best in the situation, but he died where Direwolf couldn't see him, and that's probably going to cost him the match there. To be fair though, the damage disadvantage. I mean, early, right at the start, probably the first, let's say 5-6 trades, KSG were looking very strong, using their range well. But they didn't have to close in. They had a Pop-Tart Shadowcat. They had, only 3 PBCs against them, right? Because the 2 AC-10s weren't really going to be doing that much damage at that long range. So let's publish stats. And we see it there, Lassen to Veagle, he did get to use AC-10s. Like, you won't get that much damage from a single PPC. So clearly, that range closing, letting Lassen use those weapons, yeah, definitely win in CXF's favor there. Good work though. It was very well played, and we're getting ready for the 5v5 matches now. Okay. As we load in, the stats should update shortly. And we're set for 5v5s on the first map. Now, the first map is going to be a 200-ton drop. I'm just trying to get these stats to refresh. There we go. Nice. Okay. Round 4, and it's Crimson Straight. That's good. So, Conquest game mode on Crimson Straight. American servers, everything else is correct, and we're going to go 12-minute matches. Looking at the damage, the last drop, that adds up to about nearly 1,000 damage actually, like close to. So Mocker and Trem did a great job to try to stay alive for as long as they did. But yeah, it was just that probably closing in, they didn't have to, and good synchronized pop tie in the latter half, latter 2/3 I'd say. I think the first third KSG was holding strong, but I think those last 2/3 the match, CXF's pop tiding and use of range and use of shared positions like defensive UAVs and pop tide in the same angles and swapping together, that really stood in their favor. Now we do have maps. I'll use map strats post drop after these 5v5s. There's not much to say in 2v2s regarding that. So that's prepped and ready to go when we get to the 5v5s. Now, Team 1, so KSG will lock first, and once they're locked, we'll get CXF ready to do similar before launching. Also use the opportunity to just give a shout out to anyone who's interested in comp for any skill level. There's no minimum skill level to play comp. There's Division F, there's Division S even, where all kinds of shenanigans occur. You might find, very quickly that, you might find a team and just skills you've built in quick play, with a bit of training and teamwork, you can be playing any of these divisions really. So feel free to reach out to the NWO Comp community. There's a Discord there. You can put recruitment There's recruitment channels of units looking. You can put your own pilot. Hey, I'm here. This is the time zones I plan. These are the days I'm available. This is what mechs or what weight classes I like. You get picked up by a team. That's basically what we've got to do. Really, just go to the NWO Comp Discord, put your hand up, have a go. Simple as that. Now, even though there is a 5-minute delay, if you have a question about the game, if there's something that you want to learn about, please feel free to ask in chat. There's a lot of experienced players in chat who know this game back to front. They can answer it. During comp shoutcasts, great opportunity to just be on live chat with heaps of people. Right, Crimson Strike Conquest. Now, in Tournament of Stars, Conquest is played as a 1 cap. Okay, so the other 4 capture points are not legal to be used, and instead only the Theta point. So we're going to fly over to Theta and have a look where it is. Relative to the map, we have red teams. Team 2 will come in from the left or the south of the map, and Team 1, which is coming from the north. Okay, so Theta is right below at the bottom of my screen here. I'm going to get into dashcam now. Okay. And we're going to look at the mechs very shortly. I'm just going to move this up so we don't block any targeting information on the paper dolls. Okay. So we are on Kastarian's team, and Kastarian himself is running a SRM Arctic Wolf. There's a second SRM Wolf, a third one, slightly different builds on each of them, a fourth one, and all backed up by a Viper. That's 540 tonners, 200 tons. Now what's CXF running? SRM Arctic Wolf, SRM Kip Fox, another SRM Arctic Wolf, a Streak Arctic Wolf, interesting, Shadowcat with lasers and machine guns. I think someone. Okay, all SRMs except for the Shadowcat. Rightio. CXF are going to dive straight over the saddle and go to Theta. Kastarian Guard already en route past the tunnel. And Kastarian holding up, not going for the cap yet. They're looking around the corner here. In this position, you might consider sending the Viper off. Maybe the Viper goes caps, or scouts, jump scouts. And no, they're going to find Pete Zone in the Shadowcat. And CXF is not going to make it over the saddle before an engagement occurs. Big engagement happening. Pete Zone Shadowcat getting focused first and foremost. Gwentler's Arctic Wolf down at 60%. There's a bit of a split focus going here. Kastarian is also down at 60%, but Pete and JB duking it out. There's 2 mechs hurt on each side. In fact, looking at Kastarian's mech, they're losing a lot more hit points, but Pete does go down first. So CXF getting a lot of damage out, but Kastarian with that better clean focus and discipline, doing a great job taking out Louston and Pete Zone early. Now, JB hurt in the Viper, getting around the corner. Nico goes down. JB holding on well to stay alive. And Rafnor and LOL Barbecue still over around the saddle area, not diving as deep as Pete or Nikoro did. And it's just going to be a cleanup now for Kastarian Guard as they finish off the final few mechs on the field. Rafnor is going to go down shortly. They did get Gwentler, but look at those percentages. Look at how hurt these mechs are. Kastarian himself, very, very hurt, open his side. Jinto's been roughed up all over the place. Trem, barely alive. He's legged. He's crit on his remaining, smashed up, and the Viper is medium to well done. So they're going to go for the cap now. Well done. Good job. The UAVs just all through the air, still on the minimap there. Just UAVs falling out of the sky in this corner of the screen there. As always happens, whenever there's a big brawl, you got UAVs cover the sky. Excellent. Well, congratulations, Kastarian, on a great first drop of the 5v5s. Let's get that info in there. I'm also creating a doc so it's all recorded. Okay, so damage-wise, Pete did lead the push in for CXF, went down for Double D. In a light drop, look, if you double in a light drop because you went in first, not always means something went wrong. But I do think maybe him and the core did go a little bit deeper compared to what his teammates did. That may not be a problem if they could get good back shots, but I think the focus of Kastarian guards were just so much more precise. In the first probably 4 or 5 volleys, I think CXF did get more damage out. I think they actually did get a bit more damage out in total for the first 20-30 seconds of engagement, but Kastarians were focused, and you know the snowball effect, right? Once you start taking one out, two out, it becomes a snowball. And getting those first 2-3 kills before they lost their one and only around the 4th kill. Kastarians did a great job there. Okay, stats are up on the screen. We can talk about them in between drops, and I'll get set up for the next match, which will be on Rubelite, cap point Epsilon. So let's bring up the map strat. So we have Crimson Strait. Now this map is notoriously unbalanced in most forms of competitive play. That's why you don't usually see it very often. The spawns have been shifted in the last few months and has made it a lot more interesting to play. There's not too much for us to really talk about here other than Team 1 moving in well and taking an angle towards the saddle. Team 2 similarly going towards the saddle and there being a bit of a combat. Now, I'd like to do more breakdown on strategies here, but there's not a huge amount in this one. We did see CXF send Shadowcat deep, and the second Arctic Wolf also somewhat deep, but for the most part, we saw Kastarian really focus in tighter and directly taking on Pete and then Nakoro before cleaning out the rest of the team. So, yeah, good old pass. No play on Theta. There was no pressure on Theta, like any sort of range denials or fast mech to cap it quick to then force a movement. Pretty straightforward here. Okay. Yeah. In that position, though, I mean, the mechs were very similar, the SRMs all around. I wonder if the speed matching that Kastarian had helped with their ability to focus fire, given that their heaviest and lightest mech was indeed 40 tons. That means you have a bit more, I guess you have no targets, no slow mechs to pick off. As said, CXF didn't really have any slow mechs either. They're also mostly around similar tonnages. I would have probably, usually, if you have a machine gun mech like that Shadowcat, machine gun laser mech with pinpoint and good crit, you usually reserve them slightly. So while you might scout the Shadowcat, maybe a play there is you jump scout. Okay, I'm going to ping on the map here. You jump scout up wide. Sorry, don't want to move that. Jump scout up wide with the Shadowcat, and then engage after your SRM brawl has started. For two reasons. One, SRMX just, they hook in, they're going to run out of ammo sometimes at this small tonnage with how they're built, and having that machine gun laser mech live at the end rather than getting focused early can be really good for clutch players or finishing off whatever's hurt and not having the ammo dependency. So yeah, I think maybe the small tweaks there, but again, well played. These teams practice a lot. I know that CXF practices at least once a week on Thursday nights, if not more. And Kastarian Guard, they practice a lot. They are actually playing quite a bit, and they're not as well known as some other teams, but I I've watched a few of their matches when going back and looking at some of the results, and you actually see a lot of teamwork. I think Kastarian himself, the leader and namesake of the team, puts a lot of effort in coordinating together. They're a very interesting team to watch. If you haven't seen Kastarian play much, I highly recommend you look at some of the videos. They're definitely a team to look out for in the World Championships coming up, as well as CXF. CXF have been around for a long time, a lot of experience. They actually have quite a lot of experience in their roster too. So we've seen matches go back and forward tonight already, a bit both ways. So yeah, I'm quite keen to see the 5v5s take place. So Rubelite Oasis, we are at 300 tons. We going to have the ability to field heavies. Usually, when you think about building drop decks, you kind of think about, okay, what are you trying to achieve? What maps are we dealing with? What parts of the map are we dealing with? The thing I like about Tournament of Stars and is that because it's one cap point, they're both locked. We can launch. Because it's one cap point, that there's a focus on one particular set of terrain geometry, which is probably like a tenth the area of the whole map. And this is something you don't get to see in quick play, or even multi-cap versions of comp, like 3 and 5 cap, like in ISC, or the 5 cap like Worlds or MOR. When you have one cap, in particular side cap, which is like Epsilon in this situation, you get some really, really interesting decks and options in play. And that's one of the things that's probably my favorite thing about ToS is the one cap, for this smaller players per side, 5v5. Okay, players coming in. Can I move? Okay, there we are. Alright, who should we dash cam today? Let's dash cam a CXF player. Okay, let's go with Louston. Dash cam on. Alright, Innova with 5 LPL Blood Asps. This is on the KSG side. We have a laser machine gun Shadowcat. We have a second LPL Blood Asp, and second Shadowcat, and an Incubus to round it out. So we have 3 fast mechs, 2 biggies for Kastarian. Ooh, is this a Lana squad? Is CXF doing Lana squad with a Hellfire as well? Okay. Oh, I love it when we have asymmetric drop decks. I love to see that. The heck? Whatever. Anyway, whatever. So Epsilon is in the south. Kastarian guards are going to very easily get there with speed first, potentially, because they do have the Incubus, but that's a Black Lantern squad. Oh boy, JB, watch out, don't get ganked. Or is CXF, oh, they're going to go straight for the kill shot. They're going straight for the kill. The Hellfire Lawson distracting from range. And the Shadowcats are getting pushed immediately by the Black Lantern squad. The Blood Asps are nowhere to be seen compared to it. But Jinto getting a little bit of damage. He's going to get out okay. What are they going to dive on? They're getting hit by a Blood Asp on the side. What's the dive target? What's the Black Lantern squad going to go for? They're going for Jinto. Okay, in the Shadowcat. That's fair. That's very fair and reasonable. Jinto's in a bit of trouble. The LPL Shadowcat, LPL Blood Asp not getting hammered, which I thought would be the target. Honestly, oh, Jinto gets leg though. Are they going to go to Blood Asp after this though? I hit the buttons I shouldn't have. It's fine. Darren in the did he just leg? He just legged Mimosa. That was a brilliant shot. It's double legging. This is a brutal little skirmish on top of this hill. Jinto still alive, comes around and finishes off Matmos. It's one dead each way. Now what's alive here? We have 2 mechs at range from KSG shooting into the Brawl Pack, but they're the only 2 alive. CXF has only lost 1. Has lost 2 though. I think CXF can do this. You know, their Hellfire has fallen though, and he is legged. Looking at dash cam, he is legged. So we've got Low Barbecue up at the top. He goes in. Did P fall? Whoa! Rafnor, sorry, did Rafnor fall? Rafnor fell! Rafnor fell. That is probably not going according to plan. That's a problem. UAV getting shot down. Okay, yeah, Epsilon's behind. It's a 2-on-2. That is, I don't think those landers wanted to split up. I have a strong feeling that they would have rather be together. And over just jumping across, looking wide. How hurt are they? Up like so. That's better. Okay. And over getting a beautiful angle. He can probably finish off Lauston here. Lauston is very, very hurt. Lousy 10. Sorry. Oh, Lousy 10's remaining leg close to falling off. And there he goes. The Bloodhouse is fresh. The Shadowcat could cap Eps if they want to, or they can just stay together and just fight the Lair at once. Lair's legs are open. I think KSG will do quite well here. Honestly, I'm somewhat surprised. I did think from the drop deck choice that the Black Lantern rush was going to work wonders, but KSG did play it very carefully and very thoughtfully. Like they didn't panic when the rush was coming in. They split their bigs, but not split them out of line of sight, and they used their Shadowcats well, I think, to bounce off their other mechs. So very well done to KSG. That was a brilliant match, brilliant receive of the brawl push. Right, let's pop stats. Damage wise, interesting. Okay, it was actually Mocker and the Shadowcat to gain the most damage out, and decent spread around the 200-ish for the rest. CXF did do a lot of damage. I mean, the Hellfire, even though he lived for a while, he must have got legged in because he was short range. He got legged out of range and couldn't get in, therefore only doing 53. So that's not ideal. Blame Blacklands did plenty of damage there, but Shadowcats and Blood Asps have a good amount of health, so yeah. I think the coordination and the integrity of the ball fell apart a bit after the first kill. After they chased that Shadowcat, I think the groupedness of the push kind of disintegrated. And at the end there, having a legged Hellfire on the ground, two landers pushing up top, you really didn't want one to fall down there. That was a bit problematic. Okay. And we can see there that percentage-wise, Inova's Bloodhouse, quite fresh. Plenty of health still remaining. And yeah, while expecting to actually, the Bloodhouse have done a lot more damage, really, I think what they did was quite focused. And Kastarian getting 204 out in that short time before he got double-legged was quite impressive, but considering how quickly he took out, I believe it was Lol Barbecue or Matt, it was one of the two of them got taken, like in that there's a bit of a clash and lost a few mechs quickly. Alright, let's look at this map. We're going to go blue cam. Now, interesting here, there was a split movement. So I'm going to go Bass 1 and a tail of two blood asps. Bass 2. Okay. And we have some shadow cats flying around. Now, I'm not going to focus on where they are because they're basically just going to fly around, but I think it's important to see this. All right, so if we go red, angle they took was mostly up here. The angle the Hellfire took ended up down here, I think. He didn't come across the top. I think he ended up in this position. Okay, just get this on the field. The Hellfire. Right. So the Lana push, I am not sure about the decision here to. They chased, they came off here chasing Shadowcat. Shadowcat came under, landed back on top of it, then they killed it, and then they looked like they came back up again onto the Blood Asp. So the Landers did a huge loop. All the while, we see the Blood Asp 1, we'll call it, shifted out to this position. Okay, and then we had it from here. We had Blood Asp 1 and a Shadowcat, these two firing into this brawl here. And even though there was a kill advantage, okay, so there was a kill advantage for CXF early, it didn't quite materialize in the end. I think that's something interesting to see is in a situation like that, I think if you had sent one of those lanners after like to run in after that players won, even though we split, and then this might sound strange that you want, why would you split the ball? Well, chasing a Shadowcat is, when you don't have jump jets, is really tricky. In fact, something I didn't highlight early was the Shadowcat with jump jets can jump up and down in a highly vertical terrain, such as the Rubeolite Oasis, where the Landers can't. They have lots of more ground speed, but on this particular map, Shadowcat's jumping up and down. Potentially going Blood Asp would have been a better pick. Other option here, and this is a possibility, is I'm not sure if they saw the second Blood Asp. I know Blood Asp 1, sorry, the first Blood Asp. Blood Asp 1 did shoot a bit across into the opening part of the push at this position. But an option here may have been, what if they CXF pushed down here into Blood Asp 1? That would have been pretty devastating because there'll be only maybe one Shadowcat initially, then two more to follow. But Blood Asp 2 would have had to have come around the top of the hill in order to get into that. And if you get down into this ramp, Blood Asp 1, that's a 90 tons done. That's 4 landers. 4 landers will take care of that, no question. So I think if they had maybe popped UAVs as they crossed, had each side in turn, like called out who was popping which UAV, and hit a target that didn't have the verticality to jump away and sprint away as much. It took a bit of damage there. That said, from what I know of CXF, I know that a lot of their pilots, particularly in the Koro and Pete zone and Wobbly and that, are very strong in the larger mechs. So these are the lighter drops out of the way. We're now going to go to 400 tons. Okay, when we go to 400 tons, we might see Pete in a night gear. Okay, we might see Nico in a Mad Cat or a Dire or something. So anything can happen. And look, the things that have cost or won matches have been pretty small. Like we're talking about top of the table of Div B. Like these are two strong Div B teams, so they're well practiced. What we're picking up on, what we're seeing here are really the little things, okay? And at this level, the little things matter. In more casual divisions, you can get away with certain things that aren't optimized, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But at this level, things start to get punished a bit. Okay, 400 tons. Now, there is a limit of 4 per chassis during the set of drops. So, for example, CXF used 4 Black Lanners. they won't be using any more black laners now. Okay, that's just something to note. And yeah, similarly, I don't think we'll see many Arctic Wolves remaining, but because the toners get larger, you know, we're going to be really seeing more heavies and assaults get fielded. I do wonder about the also looking at this again, the Hellfire Path thing. I mean, there's no way he would have known that they had long range, but it's a bit unfortunate that he came up that line that he did and got legged. You know, is what it is. Potentially coming down low might have been a safer option, and then join the rest of the team, or maybe even putting the Hellfire with the Lana push, and then using a Lana as a fifth mech to catch up. There's probably some small optimizations there. This is an interesting factor of the spawns, right? So with the spawns, you can only fit 4 per lance. Okay, but it's a star, so you always have the fifth man is in a weird place. If you're trying to coordinate a 5 mech push, it can be a bit tricky. Okay, let's get ready for the second last drop, 400 tons on River City, and the cap is Theta, the center cap map. And let's see what they're going to bring. If Pete is in a night gear, we have to watch Pete Cam. Where is Pete Cam? Dash cam has to be all about Pete Zone's night gear. Yes, I will turn dash cam on for this. All right. Looking at the builds, Pete running Peeps Ultra 5s, Barbecue running AC 10s, 2 Peeps. Interesting. That's different way of looking at it. Nico in a Mad Cat, large Gas, no question there. Laserton in the classic 310s Peep, and so has Wobbly, Night Gears and Mad Cats. I may have been talking about mechs, so expecting to see them, and we got to see it in this drop. Alright. Oh, look at that Timberwolf build. I like it. I like this Timberwolf. Gwendler running 3s from 6, 2 Peeps, 2 machine guns, 4 heavy smalls. Look, a good bracket build makes me happy. Alright, I'm just putting it out there. Gas Large Dire, we're taking the Spire point above the cap. Second Gas Large Dire. Shadowcat's been used. And for RPL Timby, which adds a 5% heat quirk still on pulse lasers, because that's running ECM with no jump jets. That's a set of 8 quirked. Okay, long range trays. Nico doing what he loves, trading from Upper City with large Gauss across to the Spire, to the Direwolf. There's going to be, in terms of long range here, CXF have brought a lot more mid range. Sans, Mad Cat, the rest of the mechs are mid range. Okay, let's look at lines. Now, while this Mad Cat and Direwolf trade on the right side of the map, from where we're looking, let's see what's going on the left. No one has capped data. And there's Pete and Lol Barbecue firing on the left towards the tanks in the open water, whereas Lazerton and Wobbly kind of getting outranged a bit here. Not really much they can do except swing left here. Now, an option here is for CXF to swing around to the left. There's definitely a play they can make. But tricky given the crossfire that Kastarian has down that line. He's obviously going to expect him to push around there. And maybe not the best idea. The challenge here is, how does a team get beta? Now, I think Mokor in the Shadowcat has probably the easiest chance of it. However, with CXF stacked around the corner with Night Gears, if he does cap and start flashing, there's 4 Night Gears that can peek out. Plus whatever pressure Nikoro can raise. Gwentler trading with his 2 Peeps. Rest of his loadout, of course, being full Brawl. Percentage-wise, Wobbly and Barbecue down in the 87s, but Kastarian's not really all that hurt, other than Gwentler. Probably overtrade a little bit around those tanks. Not too bad, really. Nico getting a great shot on Trem, bringing him down to 85%. LPLs at this range, Trem really can't be trading too much with Nico. It's just large Gauss against LPLs. No contest there, okay? Nico does have that lockdown pretty well. He has dropped down. Let's have a look where he is. And I know he hasn't dropped, he's still on top of the bridge, and he's out of line of sight from the KSG direwolf somewhat. No, he was just walking to line of sight. Nico's got to be careful here. 80%, not doing too bad. PPCs from the Night Gears running hybrid autocannon PPC builds does give them some extreme range trade with the peeps. KSG moving up on their right hand side, doing a, we'll call it slow NASCAR, and trading into Lord Barbecue and Lausiton, getting them into the 70s. Damages across the board, and Nova's direwolf somewhat hurt at the back there. Mockle with Shadowcat scratched a bit. I like the damage spread for Crossfire better. They look like none of them are particularly smashed, and they're all reasonably fresh. Mockle just getting nailed, buddy. Careful, bro. You've got CT open. This is a very tricky position. Kastarians has shifted his dive up, but they're going to push around, and I don't know if Anova's going to be getting that much value out of his mech, given he's so far over to the left. So Nova over here, he's going to trade a bit with Nico. He's going to trade a bit with these other Nikeers. This is a really tough position for Kastarian guards play. They could try to swing out to the right and fire everything they can around that corner, but they're so hurt. Kastarian's moving out. He's doing it. His buddies need to move too. Kastarian commits to this line with his dive, which he is. Trem does it. Okay, the push has been called. This is a wide swinging push. So this is we swing around a pivot point and make it happen. Barbecue down to the 50s. Laserton down too, quite low. Looks like Nico's pushed the other side in Echo 5 high. And there's a brawl happening up there, which we'll get to Echo 5 later. But let's look at this Citadel fight first. Trem very hurt, even though Barbecue's down. Oh, look at the percentages on KSG. They're so hurt across the board. None of them are healthy by any stretch. UAVs up everywhere. Tide brawl in the midst of it. Kastarian goes down. Pete goes down. Team leaders are down. The Kastarian mechs just hold up. But three of them hold up in this tiny little sanctuary. And Laserton just there ready to smack down on whoever peeks out first. Not that Laserton is particularly healthy, but he does have armor, and that's something most of the others don't. Wobbly has killed Innova. Actually, it was Wobbly that crossed over, not Nico. And that's an interesting play there. So well done. Good job, Wobbly, for pushing across and taking out the Dire. Given his layout, 310s and a peep, I actually get that. He was the only one that didn't have the second PPC, so he was more brawly, or more closer ranged. So sending him to leave the trade fight to go and take out the other direwolf made sense, and let Nico sit back into this position here on top of Gamma, and very good. That let him basically control a bit more of what's going on. CXF winning a match with mechs, which are very well known to CXF. Classic. Okay. That's been submitted. Come on, Pete. Oh, the Pete farm. There you go. Pete's own Night Gear mode. Now, Pete, mate, if your team is all four of them one drop, you can't play Night Gear on drop 5, alright? What have you done? What have you done to yourself? It's very good. Good damage spreads there. Wobbly doing a bit less, but he was sent on a mission, and that mission he achieved to kill the direwolf. Wentler and a Timby with that crazy build, which I love, doing quite well, 468, and Nova's direwolf, extreme range farming, 526. It's hard to see them get too much value out of this, the LPL Timby, direwolf, and Shadowcat. Just because it's a bit of an awkward position for them to be playing in. Okay. And I just realized I forgot to zoom in on the camos. Oh, that's unfortunate. I really should have zoomed on the camos. Too excited to get the Pete dash came up. I saw something on the camos. I was like, oh, I should have zoomed in. Alright. Let's look at these. Team damages, not too much to talk about. I mean, it's always fun to look at the team damage stat. It's the whole reason you get the API up to look at the scores after the matches. You already saw the rest in the end around screenshot, but team damage is pretty low. Low barbecue a tiny bit there. Nothing too egregious. Alright. Let's go to River City Conquest. Okay. And strat. Interesting position, this one. Really, really cool. So MC1, we'll go MCII. It's blue team. He was set up most of the time here. There was a bit of float, between going up to the bridge, but most float back a bit. Most part around this region. We had Direwolf counterpart sitting up here with quite wide trade angles. Nice high point using that range, probably with the W of torso, get the extra bit of range out of them, and target computers. If you're running 4 large dual Gauss, usually you're fitting a target computer, okay? So if just, those are rather technical for newer players. Omnimex, like a Direwolf, you can build with different pods with different quirks. Those quirks may suit it for certain roles and like extra range, for example. And the targeting computer also gives lasers more range and ballistics more velocity, which are things you want if you're sitting at 1.5 kilometer plus sight lines. Okay, as soon as you get past 1.2 kilometers or even 1 kilometer, you really want those big targeting computers and range quirks. I'm just gonna go Nike RX4 because these guys stay together really well. And sat around the back of Citadel. There was no cap mech. So CXF did not bring a capture mech. Okay. They instead put all their, I guess, mechs into the mid-range high DPS role. Kastarian's Direwolf was in the lower position, eventually pushed up to here, did die. TBR X2, because it's 2 of them, they were around this position. The Shadowcat, I feel like he overtraded when he went to the south. Later in the match, the Shadowcat shifted from the starting position, which was threatening Theta, to a low swing, and I'm just not sure how much value they got from that. Ideas here. Now, Theta really wasn't actually capped much during the game. The Shadowcat never really made it on there. There's too much denial. This fight didn't resolve in the mech dying. In fact, Nikoro's Madacat ends up in this position, and Nova shifts up slightly to this position. It wasn't until Wobbly's Nikia took charge that was killed. So, given the range of the fight, given how it played out, this is a complex position down here. What I probably would have done is the Direwolf has extreme range, the Nikias don't. The Madacat is very far away. The Direwolf, given the scouting information that they had, probably could have come out extreme wide into this angle, okay? The Timber, LPL Timber, can stay where he was. Shift the Brawl Timber up to the Citadel, and the Shadowcat can stay with him. And what you end up with is your 2 close range mechs. I'm going to use Shadowcat as a close range mech. Brawl Timby, the LPL Timby is there, and then you have the Direwolf out here. All of them are at their optimal ranges to hit that. The weakness of that is the Direwolf is just going to be sitting out in the middle of nowhere, but you get a strong line cover on the back of Citadel. And you put, they had SRMs on that Timby, they had machine guns, heavy, smalls on that Timby. You got to make use of it somehow. If you're going to bring that build, you got to use it. Now, they did actually do this, but I think the Direwolf being close got him focused. If you remember the kill order, the Direwolf died, and then the Timby and both Timbys and Shadowcat died. I just think if the Direwolf was a bit further back and traded a few times, yes, there's a couple PPCs worth of firepower, but at least those autocans would be less in play. Again, probably not the best option. It's a complex position. Other opportunities may have been shifting the dial up to this position and then taking this angle, but I just feel like a 4 Nike fan this way would just be too dangerous. Pretty tough position. I mean, CXF deck strong. I think they play to their strengths. They like it's not just because it's Nike's and Mad Cats, which they're known for, but they definitely practiced that. They brought the builds that they were comfortable with. Each of the mechs piles, they're slightly different builds based on what they're comfortable with. I think that's really important. I don't think there's any sort of decision making there going, okay, we need this many Ultra 5s, this many Peeps, this many 10s. Instead, I think it's more bring a mid-range trade gear of what you're comfortable with. Now, Pete bringing 3 Ultra 5s, 2 Peeps, that's a hotter build. That's probably a more difficult one to play. He's more accustomed to that. Makes a lot of sense for him to play it. And the AC10 Peeps, that was actually the CS comp variant, Nike D, 3 AC10s, 1 ER Peep, in I believe the 2021 comp series. So good to see it being used. This is the last map is just waiting on KSG to finalize their mech selections, and we will launch on that very shortly. Looking at this map here, I really think this highlights the simplicity. Um, um, okay, this really highlights the simplicity of the 5v5 format can offer. So I like the ideas behind CXF's decks being simple. Okay, I know the Rubelite deck didn't go in their favor, but it was simple. Okay, it was Black Lanterns, Hellfire, go, make it happen. Okay, the KSG decks, Custodian Guard decks, have been more complex. With multiple moving parts. It did work out. So I'm just checking. We just had a crash in lobby. CXF are happy to wait for the KSG part to return. Appreciate that. That's great sportsmanship. Love to see it. All right. All right. Sorry, I was just checking the situation out. Just relogging and then they'll get ready for the final drop. Yeah. So the general thing I was talking about here was complex decks, lots of moving parts. You have, dials, big, slow, extreme range, Timbies with mid to short range, and then a Shadowcat floating. That's kind of like 3 moving parts. 3.5 if you consider Timbies have very different builds. CXF deck, 2 moving parts. Okay. 1, Yelage, Nakora Doomguard, trademark, copyright, Mad Cat, and then 4 Nikeas. Okay. It's something because I do love team coaching, right? I coach teams in Division C, B, up to Div A. I've done it a couple of times. I've even done a bit of coaching the previous years in Division D and E teams. I enjoy it. The thing I tell them a lot is bring strats you feel you can execute well. Okay, and sometimes that's simple. Okay, sometimes that's simple. I think this River City map showed us that a simple deck executed well is very robust to what happens. KSG's deck, they got a bit too complex in this one. And I think they didn't get the coordination. They got themselves in an awkward position. They couldn't really fight their way out. And Alpine, as we go to the next drop, is probably this particular one with the gamma cap. In fact, what we'll do is we've talked about River City enough. We'll actually go to gamma Alpine before the match starts. Okay, before the match starts, and let's pre-look at this. The team 2, which is KSG side, there's opportunities to come up. Gamma's the cap. Now, unlike quick play, right? In quick play, you almost never see this happen. Part of the reason I love comp and I love ToS is that we get to see parts of the map use strategies used that almost never occur. Okay, so team 2, they can take this hill position, they can take these, they can do G13, F13 high wrap. Perfectly legitimate. Okay, they've locked, so now launch. And team 1 has options. You can get max up to this high ridge, like Delta 9, Echo 9 is like viable if you have the right mix for it. You can try to do F8 controls. You have all these different options that come into play. This terrain, I've sized this years and years ago when comps used to use this area. Some is, quick. If you play quick play only, you will never see these parts of the map, and you get to see them today. So that's pretty exciting. Let's get straight back into it. Let's not miss a thing. Okay. Dropships coming in. As you know, 5 mechs, 4 per lance. You have to pick one mech to land further behind. And let's pick a KSG mech this time. In fact, that's a lot of ATMs and LRMs on KSG side. That's a heck of a lot. We're going to get Kastarian himself on here. Now, I will look at the camo specs. I'm not going to forget. We have a white Shadowcat. We have a... Oh, Rafnor, I love you. Oh, Rafnor. That is so touching. Rafnor did play for 228 Wild Ones, my team, in the 2018 World Championship. So did Pete, actually. Where's Pete? Pete earned his decals. Where's Pete? We gotta find him. He's in a dial somewhere. There he is. Pete, mate, we got a silver medal with me. Where's your decals? All right, let's look at the builds first. So we have ER Large Executioner. Sorry, Large Executioner, ER Large Gauss Dyers, AC10 Kodiak from Nico. He does love his deck of Kodiak, so that's fair. Laser 10, ER Large, ER Medium Laser Von combination on the Shadowcat. Oh, I need to get this dash cam up so we're using it properly. Kastarian cam is active. He's looking around his guys. I think he's talking to them. If you just look there, he was just looking around talking to his guys, making sure they're ready to do the maneuver. That's as a drop. He's almost certainly the drop caller. He's going first in here. You can see him rally his troops, getting ready to go. He's here to kill stuff. Okay, so this deck with these summoners, the ATMs and the LRM Scorch, they're going to go for the kill. They don't care about the cap. They don't care about the Shadowcat. They're going to find big 100-ton targets, and they're going to dump LRMs into them or ATMs into them. So I'm very keen to see it. Okay, coming around to the side of this ToS hill, which is honestly I haven't seen too many matches take this angle. Oh my goodness, lol barbecue. Those ATMs on that executioner. Goodbye, son. Now, they're in a bit of crossfire. JB is getting hurt quite badly. Who are they going to go for? They're going to go for Nico. They're going to go for Rafnor. They've chosen Nico, and it makes sense. Gets a really good choice. The AC10 Kodak is the biggest threat. Good target selection. Well done there. Kastarian getting a bit closer to get those ATMs doing maximum possible damage. JB cycling out down the low left. I really like that, how JB has cycled out a bit using cover. He's halved, but he's still alive. Look at the armor cycling on KSG side. The Kastarian Guard's armor cycling is beautiful. Armor cycling is where a hurt mech cycles into cover and stays alive, even if they're hurt. Look at that. Kastarian and JB vote into the 50%. And even though CXF at 3 mechs around the 80 plus percentile, there's still 5 sets of guns. I mean, some of them are halved, but there are still 5 some semi-complete sets of guns on KSG side still in the field. This is brilliant. Oh, that is some great armor cycling play there. And Nova taking the first thing, he was the freshest. Look at that. They chose the freshest mech to take the lead. And Nova goes up. They're all in the red percentages. Um, Getting Lems on Pete Zone's dial with the LRMs having longer range. Pete Zone is going to get legged by LRMs and ATMs. In the end, he goes down. Lazarton pressing across the open as much as he can to get some laser fire on them. Rafnor having to turn to Teal's Kastarian. There is min range on those ATMs, but can he extend long enough? He may. Lazarton's Shadow Cake does go down. And Kastarian holding on for as long as he can just to keep targeting and look at the cycling. Oh, just that is some beautiful armor cycling. Sorry, I'm going to be praising this armor cycling a lot. It is, oh, that is just so good. Rafnor is going to get CT before he gets legged. As you probably, if you didn't know, lock-ons hit legs quite a lot, particularly if you're moving away from the LRMs. And so, yeah, that's something to be aware of. Okay. And it's a win for KSG, only losing one mech in the process. There we go. Now, in terms of health, Scorch was halved. He was reasonably fresh-ish for a nearly dead mech. Kastari himself was CT'd. Summoner halved CT'd. 7 ATM shots left. Wow, that's incredible. 7 as well for the other summoner. So 2 summoners, only 7 ATMs left. And 0 on the summoner. In fact, so the total damage potential left for all of KSG was probably, I don't know, a couple dozen points of damage plus whatever the Scorch had. That's incredible. That's really, really cool. And well done. Okay. I mean, they're just going to walk to cap points. So the rules, just so we're clear, the rules are once you've killed every mech, then you can cap whatever points you need to. There's 5 minutes, 50 seconds left in the match, so it's going to limp 2 points and cap them out. I mean, given that the Shadow Cat held those points for so long, I'm actually surprised that the game ended how it did. I really don't know why the Shadow Cat didn't run up to like Golf 13 or something with those 2 EL larges and scratch them. There you go. So I've just got information that Pete also had 2.1 tags on his Nike Odd River City as well as Refnor on his dial. Love you guys. That's hilarious. That is very, very funny. Alright, that's probably enough points. Don't have to worry about it. In fact, you know, they've got plenty. They'll probably get Data and Kappa. Mathematically, they've got plenty of points. So, KSG will win it. I'll have to go back and do the maths at some point to see what the total scores were, but Kastarian Guards definitely got more points in the end, having won 3 of the 4 5v5s, and having won some of the Solaris went both ways actually. Solaris worth a bit less points, but yeah, KSG with a bit more. Those percentages though, how good. Stats. Okay. Jinto, the Lambo, the Lamb Scorch. Top damage there, 76. Strong, heavy numbers out of a lot of them. Look at that. That's ATMs. I mean, hey, they practiced this, they scienced this. It's good stuff. And then CXF, great damage. You got direwolves doing heaps. I mean, to be honest, I think it's the 212 Wild Ones decals that did it for them. But also Rafnar and Peter good pilots. Doing great there. The Shadowcat, I'll talk about when you bring the map straight up. Okay. When you bring the map straight up, I'll talk about this more. What I think may have been able to occur. Then that Executioner, look, if you go around a corner and you get hit by dozens of ATMs in their triple damage, 2.5 damage range, you're going to have a bad time. Okay. Let's look at the scores, and we'll get ready for interviews shortly. So we see here, that's stats. Kastarian Guard's winning that quite cleanly. No great team damages to note. Let's look at the map here. I'll keep an eye on the post-match interview people to make sure if they want to come in. Okay. Okay. Just saying interview requests for people so they know where to come. Let's look at this real quick. Honestly, this was just a push, like a ATM LRM push. Okay, Kastarian here rallied his troops at the top of that ramp, and then he went for it with his team. There was the first pickoff was the EXE in this position. There are two mechs here, the Kodiak and something. What else was here? I think two Kodiaks actually. Then you had Dire, and then Pete's Die at the back. Shadowcat dying. This all happened. All the blue triangles are 100 tonners. The question I had though is, when you have Theta capped, okay, and Theta's blue, okay, you have ELIJs, you see that your team is dying. Why not get your Shadowcat up into this position, okay, and just tickle the point? You saw how much the map that they had to then go and cap, because by the time they got all 400 tonners down, the cap had ticked 135 points, which for a 12-minute match on a map this size, to cap it back and then get to other points, would take a while. If the Shadowcat could float up here for a bit longer and had two ELIJs and a bunch of ER mediums, right? It could potentially scratch that Gamma mech. That's a really tricky play to make when your teammates are getting smashed and where there's a push happening. But again, at this level, little things like, going, okay, we're going to lose all four of these bigs. Can we get a Shadowcat away? Can we buy time with the big mechs to get the Shadowcat to get out onto this ridge line, peak ELIJ, or chain? Yeah, two ELIJs, you can get one, then two, just enough to scratch and keep that cap, even for another minute. Okay, you could even back this direwolf up potentially if you had enough warning that you're going to lose this, or back the direwolf up to this position, Echo 10, right? And there you have a line onto Gamma that doesn't get hit by LRM ATM. 2020 hindsight, I know, but little things. Okay, really good though. So let's look at Discord. We're going to get people in and make it all happen. Rightio, g'day. So we are joined by Kastarian and Mokor from Kastarian Guards, and I believe Mokor will be acting as the translator. And we have Pete Zone from CXF. G'day.
Yo. Hello.
So first of all, brilliant set of games, really well played. It was great to cast and watch the two very different approaches to building drop decks, to strategies. I found that a lot of fun to cast. Let's start with CXF. Okay, so Pete, how you going, mate?
Mm-hmm. Good. I'm not disheartened.
Right.
Good match.
It's good. Look, the decals powered your Nike on drop 4. All right, let's be honest.
Yeah, set.
So when you're building these decks, I noticed in general you have more simple decks. Like let's bring 4 of this or speed match a lot. Is that a theme that you generally like to use? It's more simple, yet easy to execute decks.
Yeah, it's much simpler. It's easier to manage, and I'm not really a good drop leader just yet.
All right,
Apart
mate.
from the last match.
So was there any areas that you think, or any particular things you think went really well today that were like, yes, we practiced that and that happened?
The night cheers, I think, went pretty well. I was prepared to DPS anything down that was pushing us. We were expecting Sun Spider Ds on every drop pretty much, but that didn't happen. Um, yeah, other than that, the XE and the Vehicle and the 2v2, I was happy about. We pop tarted, made sure the minimal exposure was perfect.
Very good. And yeah, Kastarian and Moko, well done, congratulations. Like I didn't do the exact maths on it in the midst of everything, but you definitely came out ahead on points tonight. So yeah, how you guys feel? How you feel your practice went?
Yeah, I'm gonna translate this bit. Как мы себя ощущаем? Мы выиграли по поинтам, в принципе. Э, Ощущения?
Замечательно, потому что когда я вступал в лигу, мы не планировали готовиться, не планировали выигрывать, и никаких тактик у нас не было. И, соответственно, для того, чтобы играть на чистой импровизации, я считаю, это замечательный результат, который показывает на то, что мы выросли за этот сезон. Я очень доволен.
So, yeah, we are really glad it turned out this way because when we joining the league, we didn't actually plan to do much training to prepare a lot. It was more like a relaxed league for us, and because we were like improvising a lot for what we have in the end, we very happy how it turned out.
Excellent. Now I'm a drop caller, right? I've drop called most of the time I've been playing this game. Is Kastarian your drop caller, and does he have a very lead the troops from the front play style? I noticed particularly in the last drop, looked like he looked around to make sure everyone's with him, and then you did that beautiful push with the summoners.
Джейзи говорит, что он дропколлер, и спрашивает, ты ли дропколлер в нашей команде, и ведешь ли ты всех как бы находясь впереди, ну вот, или как у нас в принципе это происходит. И вот особенно в последнем бою, что ты подождал всех и типа отправились.
I'm Alpha and Omega. I'm all.
You don't need to translate that. That's brilliant.
I guess so, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, but I was like sitting with the guys, and yeah, it basically was planned that we waited for everyone
Yeah.
to push like together.
Я
So,
хочу передать большое спасибо своему пилоту, который сейчас играет в другой команде, за тактику с суммонерами, потому что это его идея, в которую я так с сомнением верил, но мы решили попробовать, потому что мы же несерьезно участвуем, и это просто превосходно было сыграть, мне очень понравилось. Злому стрелку привет.
yeah, so Kastarian wants to make a shout out to Zloy Strelok, who is like part of KSG, but he's now has his own team for this league in Div D, I guess, Lance of Marduk, and he actually invented this like strategy of ATMs, and they actually used it last night. So yeah, we were hesitant about how it will work, but it worked. It was fine. It was fun as well. So yeah, big shout out to him.
Excellent, well done. That was a very cool strat to see, and overall, there's so many differences of ideas. I noticed in general, this Iron Guard brought a lot more complex strategies with more moving parts, like multiple different speeds. Like Rubelite, there was 2 Blood Asps and a bunch of Shadowcats, whereas CXF went for the more speed match deck. Um, I have a question for Pete. Did you intend to chase the Shadowcats, or was it you know, did you want to swap to the Bloodhouse at some point? Did you have anyone
Yeah.
fall off the cliff at at the end? Or
Yeah, we had someone drop off the cliff. Unfortunately, we wanted to go back for the other blood asp.
that was a really close drop, and that was tense. That was I think Rubelite felt like. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did either of you feel like it was easy, or was it tense for both of you? Because for me, I was like, this is so close.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty close actually. We were pretty hurt.
Говорят про матч на Рубилите, насколько он был для нас. Напрягались ли мы, стрессовали или нет? Я могу от себя
Ну,
ответить.
ну, можешь добавить. Суть в том, что мы к этому не были готовы, к такому клазу, к такому быстрому. И когда я понял, что там вот эти ужасные быстрые флфайры, то я немножко испугался и понял, что надо растягиваться и растаскивать всех по карте и как бы стрелять по ногам. И, в принципе, мои шкоты отлично сделали все, растащили. И в итоге мы смогли работать, не сражаться лоб в лоб 5 на 5, а драться именно на расстоянии. Я
Okay,
считаю, что
so
если бы они смогли нас встретить 5 на 5, естественно, мы бы проиграли, и не получилось бы вот такого боя.
yeah, so the match definitely was close, and we didn't expect this kind of push. We were like stressed in the beginning, but yeah, it all like fall into place. We a little improvised. We divided into like two groups, but yeah, from the what we had in the Discord, the atmosphere was, especially in the end when we had like 2 mechs left and you had 2 mechs left, we like people got stressed and nervous that we could lose it. So yeah, it was definitely close. If we I think if we didn't separate, we would have lost this match.
Yeah, I agree. The maneuvers that you made to send Blood Asp and one Shadowcat across to a different high point, that was very well done. That was like there was very small rooms for error, and you did well, given how aggressive and how dangerous a Blacklander push can be. That was excellent. So yeah, no, for viewers, this is top of the table clash in Division B. This is really high level stuff. As I mentioned between each of the drops previously during the cast, small things get punished. These guys know what they're doing. I do have one question for KSG though. I really liked Gwentler's build on the Timberwolf on River City. Can you explain a bit about the idea behind that?
Спрашиваю, да.
Я хочу просто сразу сказать. Гвен у нас такой особенный товарищ, он очень любит собирать необычные вещи, которые у него работают. Больше они не работают ни у кого, поэтому у него есть, скажем так, привилегия собирать те билды, которые я никогда бы не собрал и выкатывать. Только потому, что они работают.
Okay. Вопрос был в том, в чем задумка была этого билда, ты знаешь?
Да, конечно же.
Рассказывали.
Была задача поставлена собрать машину, которая может все, которая может быть быстрой, которая может прыгать, которая может убить лонг, которая может встретить пуш, которая может... Да все может. Она должна дуэлить, она должна убивать... Ну, это машина универсал.
Okay, so the job for Gwentler was to build a mech that can do everything, jump, duel, and like long, short, whatever. So yeah, that was the idea behind the mech. And Kastarian also said that the Gwentler manages to build mechs that work, but only in his hands. They don't usually work in hands of someone else, but he manages to make it work. So he has a privilege to make unusual builds and take them to the match.
Buy this man a stalker. That's great. I love it. I love that when people bring all kinds of cool stuff. So, any final things anyone want to say to the viewers, to each other?
thanks for the match. It was great fun, and thanks for the stream for everyone who came to watch us today.
Yeah, GG's.
Thank you for fight.
Excellent. All right, well, I'll close it out. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for watching this shoutcast. Again, if you want to get involved in comp, NWO Comp Discord, hit them up. If you want to join units, there's heaps of units to join. You can put your name out there. You can ask all kinds of questions. There's shoutcasts like this happening all the time during the seasons, and get in. Feel free to ask your questions in chat. Even there's all the heaps of experienced players there you can talk to. And there's nothing really to fear. At worst, your mech gets blown up. It's alright, it grows back. Thanks for joining us and hope you had a great time. This is NWO Comp, signing off.